Hello and welcome back to the channel, everyone. In our last episode, we got the enemies in the game and running around. In this episode, I want to focus on some core game framework stuff. So inside of our Wave Game Frame project folder, we're going to create a new folder here, and I'm going to call this Game. This is where I normally store all of my core game objects, like my game mode and my game state, which is what we're going to make in here today. We're going to right-click on a new blueprint class, Game Mode Base, and call this GM Custom. Now that we have our GM custom, we're going to open it up, and I'm just going to put it to the side because I'm going to be opening all of these things as I make them. The next thing we need to make is a blueprint class, and you're going to need to search in all classes for game state. And we're going to use game state base and call this GS custom. I think you get the naming scheme here. Now inside of our player, we're actually going to need a couple things as well. We're going to go ahead and make a player controller, even though we're not really doing anything with it yet, called PC Custom, just so we can set it up into game mode and have everything running for when we actually do need to interact with this later on. And we need one more blueprint class here of the type all classes, and this is going to be a player state. So info player state. We're going to call this PS Custom. And we're just going to open everything up so we can save it. Now the way this system is going to work is it's going to work based on blueprint interfaces. That way we can kind of drop the BPI onto any game mode or game state and make this system run. You could directly cast into these if you know you're only going to be using one game state or you're only going to be using one game mode, but I think using interfaces just makes this a little more modular and easier to kind of swap into other projects as I need to. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make two blueprint interfaces. Remember, that is a new blueprint interface. I'm going to call this one BPI play state. This is just going to contain one function for the play state called iAddKill. That's it. We're not even going to have anything in here. It's just iAddKill because we want a way to communicate with any player state to be able to add this kill into the player state. We're going to go over exactly what it does in a little bit. But for now, that's all we need in the BPI play state. The next one we're going to need, again, blueprint interface, is called BPI spawn interface. And this one's a little more important for the system as a whole. So let's open it up. And we're going to need 4 core functions in here. One is going to be enemy killed. That's going to need an input of a boolean for is boss, because we need to know if it was a boss that was killed if we're going to support bossing. We need to add another function in here called iSet countdown timer remaining. And this is going to be for the UI in between waves that that way we have a countdown timer. That is going to be an integer, and that is going to be new time remaining, or new time, I guess is fine. We're going to duplicate this because the next two functions are both going to need integer inputs as well. So we're just going to control D that. This one's going to be called iSetTotal enemies. And this is going to be new total. And we're going to need one more called iSetNewCurrent wave. So iSetNewCurrentWave, which is going to have a new wave. I'm going to give all these the category of being spawn interface, or just spawn will be fine. Anyway, that is all that is going to happen in spawn interface, so we can go ahead and close that out. Now we need to actually implement these BPI, otherwise they're not going to do anything, right? So we're going to go into our player state first, in the class settings, implemented interfaces, you guessed it, BPI play state. And that is the only BPI we're going to use inside of the player state. Now let's go ahead and set up a couple of functions in here while we're here. So once you have this interface, you're going to just double click it to get the event. And now we have the event. But this event doesn't do us too much good on a player state because this is not authoritative. So what we need to do is we need to make a custom event here called new kill. This new kill custom event here needs to be run on server and reliable. This is pretty important because if this is not run on server and reliable, you're probably not going to get the player states updating properly. You might end up with some values being just added to the server players. You might end up with some values just not being visible on the client players. These kind of things, they do happen. So new kill, now that this is executing on the server, we need to go ahead and add some variables. Our first variable is going to be kills. You guessed it. That's going to be an integer, and that is going to be set to rep notify. So we're going to come down here in replication and say rep notify. For now, we just know that we need kills. So we're going to get kills, and we're going to increment kills because we just got another kill. And that's all we're going to do for kills. Now we need one more thing as well. So we need what's called an event dispatcher. This is pretty much going to be what updates our UI. So I'm going to come down here to where it says event dispatchers. I'm going to add a new one, and I'm going to call on kills updated. And this is just a way to kind of make sure that all units, so all of the players and the server, are all getting the updates when they are needed. So basically we're going to call on kills updated, but we need to pass in a value. So with event dispatchers, you can come up to the inputs in the details panel, and you can add variables in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a variable of the type kills, or I should say new amount. That way we have a new amount of kills. Now if you already dragged it into your world, you can right click it and refresh it. Or you could just drag this out and say call again and you'll get the value. So we're just going to make sure that we are calling this on kills updated. So the next variable we need here is going to be like kills. This is going to be called player score, because we are keeping track of the individual player score as well as the game's score, so the total score. And that also is going to need to be rep notify. What we're going to do here is we're just going to drag it into this execution pin so we get a set node. And we are going to plus, and then we're just going to drag it back out again, and we're just going to say +5. And I'm just going to keep this simple. If we want to come back later and do some more complex logic, we can. But this is just to kind of show you how to get these variables working inside of your game. We're going to need one more integer here, and that is currency, because we want the player to have some kind of money in the game. So this is also going to be rep notify. And again, we're just going to drag it into that execution pin. We're going to control drag out currency. We're going to say plus 5. And we're just going to set that to currency with the rep notify. So one thing I noticed here, and we're going to go into rep notify in just a second, but sometimes we needed to call this inside of here. So like even though we have these as set to rep notify, for some reason the server player would not update unless we put in the actual event dispatcher here as well, and then did the rep notify as well. So we're going to get into what happens on a rep notify. So basically when this kills variable gets updated, we get this function called onRepKills. If I open up that function, this is going to run whenever that kills variable is updated. So what I need to do is when that kills variable is updated, I need to call my onKillsUpdated event dispatcher here with kills. And that's just going to make sure that everyone is firing off this event dispatcher wherever they are, and when you get to the locally controlled players and stuff like that, you'll be able to update the UI with this event dispatcher. All you need to know for now is really that on rep kills, we are just updating kills. And on rep player score, we're going to make another event dispatcher called on player scored with the new score as an input. And we're just going to drag that out into the world again and call it and use player score and plug it in. That's all we're going to do on rep player score. Again, same thing on currency. You kind of get the vibe here. So on currency updated, which is also going to have an integer of new currency. We're just going to go ahead again and call that. Now we won't get into the UI until the next episode, which is actually what's going to display all of this stuff and bind all of these events. But for now, on event I add kill, we are just going to say new kill. And that's going to run this run on server event to increase our score amounts and get everything set up. And that is actually all we are going to do inside of this player state, as long as everything comes back clean. So yeah, that should be all we need to do inside of the player state. Again, we're not doing anything inside the player controller today. We're not doing anything inside of the game mode today, except in the class defaults of the game mode, we're going to go ahead and set our game state custom. We're going to set our player controller custom. We're going to set our player state custom. We're going to set our default pawn to our player. And that looks good for now. So we're going to compile, save that. Now our game mode is done. Player controller's done. Player state's done. The only thing we need to do is come in here and work on the game state. And the game state is going to be very, very similar to what we just did in the player state. It just has a few more functions. So we're going to go to, again, implemented interfaces, and we're going to implement BPI spawn interface. And we're going to use BPI spawn interface in the event graph. So just like we did before, we're just going to double click on these to make them. So BPI set total enemies. We'll do this one first. We're just going to need two variables. So we're going to need one that is total enemies, and we're going to need another one that is enemies remaining. And these are both going to be rep notify. Pretty much every variable we make in here right now is going to be rep notify. So we're also going to set enemies remaining to the enemies that are coming in. Because this is going to be called basically right before a wave starts to update the total enemies for that wave. That's all we're going to do here. I'm going to put enemy killed up here because we're actually going to have to do stuff with that. A new current wave, pretty much same thing. Revolt weave. Why did I weave? New weave? But we're just going to call this wave. So we're going to promote new weave to a variable and we're going to call it wave. And then that is again going to be rep notify. So we're just going to be rep notifying when weave is set to wave. Same thing with time remaining. Again, promote to a variable. So called time remaining. And we are going to make that again rep notify. So all of these are just updating rep notify variables. It's just kind of common event dispatchers. That way we can call this from anywhere and just go ahead and set them. We don't need to worry about which game state is doing it or anything like that. Now the event I enemy killed is going to be a little bit different because we need to run a branch and we need to basically see if this is a boss. If this is a boss, well, we need another variable. So I'm going to make another variable and I'm going to call this score. And score is also going to be an integer and it's also going to be rep notify. We're going to take score out of here and we're basically going to be setting a score. So we need to calculate how we're going to set the score. Now I'm going to keep this as simple as possible. I'm going to control get score and I'm going to control get wave. I'm going to say wave times 5 for a boss plus score equals new score. We're going to set enemies remaining to 0 here because when we kill a boss, we're not supporting like after bossing or anything like that. We just want to end the wave, so we need to make sure that the enemies remaining is just cleared. And then we're going to have to call our first event dispatcher here, and this is going to be on enemies remaining. On enemies remaining is going to need, you guessed it, an integer of enemies remaining. Don't ask me why I can't spell remaining, alright? So we're going to drag on enemies remaining out here. We're going to call it, and yeah, we're going to use this return variable here of the set with notify to just call enemies remaining. Now again, this is kind of one of those things where on rep notify should probably work, but it wasn't working sometimes for my server player, and it was really annoying, so I just figured I'd go ahead and call it here as well. Now, we're going to do this pretty much again down at the bottom, except our enemies remaining here is actually just going to get decremented. And I think it's when I use decrement, I actually have to manually call this. I'm not 100% sure. But I needed to call, again, on enemies remaining to make sure that the server was properly updating its UI, because all of the clients were updating, but the server just wasn't taking this rep notify. So the score here is just going to be simple. It is going to be plus. It is going to be score plus wave. You guessed it. So whatever wave we are on, when we get a kill, we're just going to update that score. So this next part, you guessed it. We're just going to fill out all of these on reps with event dispatchers. So on enemies remaining is just going to call on enemies remaining with enemies remaining. So this is pretty simple. You may in the future, of course, want to run additional logic inside of these, but basically what I'm doing with them right now is just making sure that everyone knows that this has been updated and its bound event is going to run with the new enemies remaining. That way everything knows it's time to update the UI for that specific element. There's a new value in there. We need to do something. On rep total enemies. So that is going to be another event dispatcher, and that is going to be on total enemies with, again, an integer of new total, and we are just going to call that with the total. We need another one here on wave changed. We're going to add a new variable here called new wave, and we need another one, of course, on score with an input of new score. And we're going to go ahead and implement some of those. So on rep score, we're going to call on score with score. On rep time remaining, we're going to add one more event dispatcher called on countdown, because we're going to have to do something to like handle the countdown timer. So this is new time remaining. New time remaining. And then we're just going to call on countdown with that new time remaining being the time remaining. And it should be good. We just need to do wave, and again, it's just calling this on wave changed with wave. Again, this is just to make sure that everyone is getting properly notified and all of the UI is updating as intended. Okay, and that is actually all I'm going to do in the game state as well. So let's go ahead and just take a quick minute to test this all out. The first thing I need to do here is make sure that I go into my project settings and I override my game mode with my game mode custom. Same thing down here in the world overview. We want to make sure that we're overriding with the game mode custom so that this stuff is actually going to work. Actually, I'm just going to go into the player and I'm going to hijack my one key here. And on my one key, I want to get player controller. I want to get player state. So I want to get my player controller. I want to get the player state out of that. And then I want to call I add kill when I press the one key. And I also want to get the game state and run something and I'm just going to keep it simple here. And I'm just going to run I wave. So I set new current wave with a new weave of just like 3. And we're just going to make sure that we print these in the game state and the player state real quick. So when this happens, I'm going to just print a string of the wave. And when that is notified, I am also just going to print a string of the wave. And same thing over here when we are adding a kill inside of our player states. I am just going to print a string along all of these lines to say print a string here, print a string here, print a string everywhere, print a string. Okay, so now when I come in here and I press 1, I should be adding a kill and setting my new current wave. So when I press 1, I see that I am adding kills to the server player. So the server score is just going up. Let's just leave it at 115.23. And when I do this in my player, I actually don't know if this is going to work since I'm not running it on the server. So we're at 50 on the server player there, and we are continuing to climb on the, we had 50 on the, so we have like 200 on the server player, and we're just continuing to climb to 250. And when I press 1 here, we have the client player, which is slowly also accumulating, so it's at now 150. And we come back to the server, and we keep accumulating. We start at 250, and we go up to 300. So that's working how I want it to. I know the debugging there isn't exactly optimal, but we wanted to do this pretty quick to wrap up the episode. In the next episode, we'll go ahead and work on the UI and getting all of these events bound so you can get something on the player screen, and then we'll make the laser beam to actually award kills and all that good stuff. Thank you for watching. Consider joining our Patreon. For just $3 a month, you'll get instant access to all of the project files and the videos as soon as they come out. Now, on to the next one.